Hi P4 students! In this video, we will focus on learning past continuous tense. Many of you might wonder why you need to learn this kind of tense in P4. Although past continuous tense is not commonly used in daily conversation, it always appears in narratives. In other words, you will need to use past continuous tense for writing a narrative story for Unit 5. Here is the learning objective of this video and grammar worksheet 5.2. Students will be able to identify and use past continuous tense correctly. We'll start with reading a story. You have to pay attention to the different tenses in the story, which will begin now. Hey Daniel, I called you yesterday at about 8 p.m., but you didn't answer. What were you doing? Sorry, I was at home, but something happened that I missed your call. When I was sitting in the living room and watching TV, I suddenly felt a strong smell of smoke. It was coming from the corridor outside my apartment. I opened the door and saw smoke at the end of the corridor. Can you make a guess what happened next? But before that, I would like to look into the tenses which the story has used so far. There are two parts in past continuous tense. The first part is the helping verb was or were. It was used according to the subject pronoun. When it is a singular pronoun, such as he, she, it, or even I, we use was, like he was, she was, I was. Then we will use were for plural pronoun, like we, you, or they. Like we were, you were, and they were. The second part is the ing form of a verb. Therefore, we form a sentence in past continuous tense in the following sequence. First, a subject. Then, a helping verb, was or were, plus an ing form of a verb, and at last, a subject. This sentence shows the sequence we mentioned. Daniel was watching TV. Now we'll talk about when to use past continuous tense. We can use it when we describe events in three different scenarios. Look at the one on the left side of your screen. To show, first, past continuous tense can be used to show a longer action around a particular time in the past. Examples for long actions are watching TV, washing dishes, and do your homework. They are actions that take time to complete. Therefore, if you want to express the action in a particular duration of time, like yesterday at 3 p.m., you can say, I was doing homework yesterday at 3 p.m. Here are two more examples. What were you doing at 8 p.m. last night? And yesterday at that time, I was watching TV. Both phrases 8 p.m. last night and yesterday at that time are the time expressions for past continuous tense. You need to pay extra attention to these expressions when you do the worksheet. Another scenario, which is on your right side, it is used to show that two actions were happening at the same time. That means it is used to emphasize on two events happened together in the past. For example, Danny was watching TV while Amy was taking a shower. both events happens together. Another example is that while Amy was taking a nap, Daniel was cleaning the house. It comes to the last but the trickiest part. Past continuous tense can be used to show a longer action in the past which was interrupted by another action. Let's try to imagine that you are watching this video and suddenly your sibling jumps on you. If the whole event was happened in the past, we could say, my sister jumped on me while I was watching a video. The action of jumping interrupts the longer action, watching a video. The shorter action is not necessary to stop the longer action. In this case, the shorter action is in simple past tense while the longer action is in past continuous tense. Here are a few examples. While I was watching TV, I suddenly smelled a strong smell of smoke. The longer event is watching TV, so we use past continuous tense. Well, watching TV actually happened beforehand. And then the shorter action jumped in. So we use in simple past tense. Well, which is the smell. Therefore, now let's look at the second example. Daniel was sitting in the living room when the phone rang. Can you tell which event happened first and longer, and which event happened next? You may pause to think now, or continue to check the answer. The longer action is sitting in the living room, and the shorter one is that the phone rang. The last example. The bell rang while Amy was taking a shower. So you can tell taking a shower actually happened first. It is a long action, and suddenly the bell rang. The shorter action interrupts, so it is used in simple past tense. These three examples are obvious that the shorter action is something happened like simultaneously or that can be completed quickly. This could be an indicator to help you identify the longer and the shorter actions when you form a sentence like this. Let's quickly look at these three groups of similar sentences. For both sentences number 1, she was studying for the math quiz all night long. The other one is, she studied for the math quiz till very late last night. Both of them are about studying for a math quiz, but the one with past continuous tense focuses on the duration of time, how long she spent on studying a quiz at night, whereas the one with simple past tense emphasizes on how late she stayed up to do her revision. Likewise, in the second example, I was doing my homework at home at 3 p.m. yesterday. Another one, I did my homework yesterday. So the one with past continuous tense was doing gives attention to what was happening at 3 p.m. yesterday, while the sentences with simple past tense did focuses on the fact that I did homework yesterday. It doesn't give any attention to any specific time within yesterday. Similarly, in the last pair, sentence number 3, when I was brushing my teeth, my naughty sister broke a window. Another one, my naughty sister broke a window this morning. So the sentence on the right in simple past tense only focuses on the fact that a window was broken by my sister this morning. And the one gives a very specific time. And the one on Your left in past continuous tense give a very specific time when the window was broken. Maybe when you try to say this, you want to explain why you can't stop your sister. It was because you were brushing your teeth and you can't pay attention to her. This slide is showing your grammar homework for this week. Grammar Worksheet 5.2. You may read the explanation part later. I have covered it in the early part of this video. Let's look at the instruction for the exercise part. It says, fill in the blanks with past continuous tense. Question 1. Candy, blank, red and blue together to make purple when her art teacher called her name. Which event was longer and started first? For this question, I would say mixing the color actually started first. So the answer is Candy was mixing red and blue together to make purple when her art teacher called her name. You can continue this worksheet after watching this video. As usual, you may print it out from eClass or Google Classroom. Or you may read it online and do the questions on a piece of paper. The answer key can be found on eClass. Alright, that's all for the explanation part. Let's end the video by finishing the story. We stopped at the part that Daniel wanted to know about the source of the smoke. He said, I grabbed the fire extinguisher and ran towards her apartment. Well, it is obvious that grabbing and running towards somewhere close are short events, and there isn't much to focus in this duration of time. That's why they are in simple past tense. But more importantly, we care more what happened next. I opened the door and there was a big fire. The flames were spreading quickly. I put out the fire as fast as I could. Mrs. Brown was lying on the floor when I found her. She was screaming for help. She was bleeding. I dialed 999 right away. Now, can you find out what happened to Mrs. Brown by completing the sentences? The fire started by some candles that blank in the living room. You may pause the video if you want, or you can check the answer. The fire started by some candles that were burning in the living room. When she blank to put out the fire, she blank down and blank her arm. The answer is showing now. When she was trying to put out the fire, she fell down and broke her arm. Alright, we have learned when to use past continuous tense today. We also learned how it looks like, actually. Here are the three scenarios we have covered when to use past continuous tense. First, to show longer action around a particular time in the past. Second, it is to show that two actions were happening at the same time. Third, it is to show that a longer action in the past which was interrupted by another action. If you have more questions on using the tense, we could discuss more during the Zoom extension lesson. Well, see you all soon. Bye!